Imagine this. One night, you're standing on the balcony of your luxury apartment, drinking whiskey, looking down at the city. And just 3 months later, you're lying under a bridge, shivering on cold concrete, while strangers walk past you like you don't exist. That's the story of Marcus, a man who had everything, and then lost it all. The sound of cars thundered above him. The bridge shook with every truck that passed. Marcus lay curled up in the shadows, his jacket pulled tight, his breath turning to fog in the freezing night. He never thought he'd end up here. Not him. Not Marcus Clark. A year earlier, his life looked perfect. Son of Jamaican immigrants who came to London in the 80s, his dad drove buses, his mom cleaned offices. They had little, but they raised him with discipline and pride. Marcus worked hard, studied harder, climbed his way into the world of investment banking. By 38, he had the dream. Tailored suits, a penthouse overlooking the Thames, champagne on weekends. People called him the success story. He was proof that you could make it if you just worked hard enough. But the truth? Success in that world was fragile. One deal at the firm went bad. Colleagues made the same mistakes, but Marcus got all the blame. Aggressive, unprofessional, that's what they called him. Labels that stuck faster to him than to anyone else in the office. By the end of the month, he was out. His name blacklisted in every boardroom that once welcomed him. Then came Catherine, his wife, the one from old money, the one whose family never really accepted him. They were polite, yes, but Marcus always heard the undertones. Too loud, too ambitious, not quite one of us. When the scandal hit, she filed for divorce, took the house, took the savings. Worst of all, she took Amelia, their daughter. So here he was, from marble floors to dirty concrete, from silk sheets to damp cardboard. The first night nearly broke him. The shame, the silence, the way people walked past like he was invisible. That's when he met Ricky. Ricky was older, with a weathered face and a rough Cockney accent. He handed Marcus half a sandwich. "Don't worry, mate. Prod won't fill your stomach." That night, Marcus stared at the shadows of the bridge. His body ached from the cold. He thought of Amelia tucked in her warm bed. Did she miss him? Did she ask about him? He whispered a promise into the night. This won't be forever. But the world outside the bridge had other plans. Weeks blurred together, days spent wandering, nights spent shivering. Marcus learned fast. Keep your bag close. Don't fall asleep too deep. Watch out for drunks. But he still had pride. He wasn't going to beg. Instead, he went to the library every morning, cleaned himself up in public bathrooms, and applied for jobs. Sometimes he got interviews, and that's when the wall appeared. Your resume is strong, they'd say, but this gap, what have you been doing the last few months? Marcus forced a smile. Personal matters. But he knew what they were really seeing. His skin, his clothes, his silence. In richer parts of town, shopkeepers followed him with their eyes. At cafes, staff served the person behind him first. The little humiliations were constant. Desperate, he called Edward, an old colleague. They used to be close. Edward had once toasted him as the man who could do no wrong. "Edward, I just need a hand, an introduction, anything." Edward shifted. "Marcus, mate, after what happened, it's complicated. People talk. You know how it is." Marcus stared at him. "Yeah, I know how it is. James lost millions and he got promoted. I make one mistake and I'm done. What's the difference?" Edward had no answer, so Marcus gave him one. "The difference is James looks like you and I don't." That night, Marcus returned to the bridge, seething. Ricky handed him a cigarette. "You thought money would shield you. I did too once. But when you fall, you see what's real. Class, race, money, they matter up there. Down here, we're all invisible." Marcus hated that Ricky was right. But one night, in a train station, he overheard two university students bragging about how his dad's connections guaranteed him a job. "I don't even need my degree," he said. Marcus clenched his fists. The unfairness burned inside him. But then he caught something else. The students mentioned a church program for the homeless. The next morning, Marcus found it. A small church with peeling paint and a warm kitchen smell. Pastor Grace welcomed him, no judgment in her eyes. She said, "Everyone deserves another chance." Through her program, Marcus got hot meals, clean clothes, and temporary work. Dishwashing, box lifting, nothing fancy, but honest work. Then came the moment that changed everything. Grace asked him to share his story at a community meeting. He hesitated. His voice shook as he spoke about losing his job, his marriage, his home. He expected pity. Instead, he saw nods, faces that understood invisibility. Afterwards, a woman came to him. "You should talk to young people," she said. "They need to hear this." For the first time in months, Marcus felt something he'd thought he'd lost. Purpose. Winter bit hard. The nights were colder, sharper, dangerous. But Marcus had a new fire inside him. He started speaking to teens at the church, kids from immigrant families, kids from poor estates. He told them the truth. The system is unfair. Racism is real. Class divides are real. But resilience matters. Don't let them tell you your worth is measured by their approval, he said. Word spread. Schools invited him. Community groups wanted him. The man who once hid under a bridge now stood in front of crowds, telling his story. Not everyone welcomed him. At one event, a father stood up. "Why should my son listen to a man who failed? You had it all and you blew it." Marcus looked him straight in the eye. Because failure teaches more than success ever will. And because your son may never face what I faced, but someone in his class will, and they'll need to know they can survive it. The room went silent. Soon, small payments came in, enough for Marcus to rent a modest room, enough to stop sleeping under the bridge. But he never forgot it. He visited Ricky often, bringing blankets and food. Ricky refused to leave. "This is my home now," he said. "But you've got another chance. Don't waste it." One evening, after a school talk, Marcus froze. In the audience stood Amelia, his daughter. Catherine was beside her, stiff as ever, but she didn't stop Amelia from running forward. "Dad," she whispered, her eyes lit. Marcus's throat closed. He hadn't heard that voice in nearly a year. From then on, Amelia visited him on weekends. They walked in parks, shared hot chocolate in cheap cafes. She didn't care that he had fallen. She cared that he was trying. Marcus had lost everything once, but in losing it, he found something greater. His voice, his strength, his purpose. On a freezing night, he stood under the same bridge for the last time. The roar of traffic above, the damp concrete beneath. Ricky sipping tea beside him. "Funny, ain't it?" Ricky said. "You slept here when you had nothing. Now you come back when you've got something again." Marcus smiled. "This bridge, it's where I learned who I really am." And he walked away. Not to forget, but to carry it with him forever.